Alright, so I'm going to do two different problems about converting fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. The first one I'm going to do is 6 and 3/8. Alright, so I'm going to be converting this to a decimal. And the first thing I always like to do with these is just to read it and think carefully about what I'm saying. So I have 6 and 3/8. And I know that and is always going to be my decimal point, and these 6 holes are going to be in my ones place. 6 and 3/8. So now I'm going to convert my 3/8 to a decimal. And in order to do that, I need to divide. So I'm going to draw my little division box right here. And this can be tricky, deciding what goes on the inside of my division box and what goes on the outside. So the number that is on the bottom, which is the denominator, is always going to go on the outside. And just really get that stuck in your mind, because in the future, the numbers on the bottom aren't always the smallest numbers, you'll find out. So just remember, if it's on the bottom, it goes on the outside. If it's on the top, which is the numerator, it goes on the inside. And now I need to divide. 8 doesn't go into 3, so I'm going to put my decimal point right here and up in my answer. I'm going to add my 0. 8 goes into 30 3 times, and I know that. I could count by 8s. I could go 8, 16, 24, 32. Whoops, 32 is too far. Or I could just, if I have my multiplication facts all memorized, I can just think, oh, 8 times 3, that is 24. And that's as close as I'm going to get. So, 8 times 3 is 24. And when I subtract, I'm left with 6. Now, since I have a remainder, I need to bring down another 0. I could add as many zeros as I wanted right here. And I would keep doing that until either I have established a pattern in my decimal, and that means it's repeating, or I am left with no remainder, and that means that my decimal ends. So I'm going to bring down my 0, and I'm going to think, how many times does 8 divide into 60? And I could, once again, I could count by 8s. I could take one that I know, like 8 times 5, and then count up by 8 until I get to close to 60. Or if I have my multiplication facts memorized, I can think 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract again. This time I'm left with 4. And I have a remainder. When I'm doing decimals, I can't have a remainder, so I need to bring down another 0. That is, how many times does 8 go into 40? And I know that 8 times 5 is 40. So that's going to go in perfectly. 8 times 5 is 40. When I subtract, I'm left with 0, no remainder. Good, that means my decimal ends, and I can stop now. So that is 375 thousandths. So I'm going to write this with my whole number. I can't forget this, because remember we did that earlier. We were starting to write our answer right here. So 6 and 375 thousandths is how I read that. And that is it. Alright, so let's do a different one. Let's go, and this time we went from fraction to decimal. This time, let's go from decimal to fraction. So that is going to be 1.25. Okay, I'm writing on an iPad, so this is probably just as bad as my handwriting on the smartboard. Oh well. Alright, so 1 and 25 hundredths. That is the way I need to read it. So I need everybody who is watching this video and who is in my class to get into the habit of always saying 1, that, or whatever whole number's right here, and that's my decimal point right here. Then in order to say this, I'm just going to read the number. What number is that? That's 25. And to end it off, so right now I have 1 and 25. In order to end that, I'm going to look at what's my last digit and what place is it in. This is the tens place. This is the hundreds place. So to read this, I would say 1 and 25, 1 and 25 hundredths. And that is going to make it so easy to convert this. So simple. Because when I read it, I can write it. I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to write it as I go. 1 and 25 hundredths. Boom. I did it. 1 and 25 hundredths. But the thing is, that is good. That's good. But I can't leave it like that because it is not simplified. So in order to simplify this fraction, I need to find a number that can divide into the top and into the bottom. So I'm going to think my rules of divisibility. I know 5's not divisible by 2, but I know 25 and 100 are both divisible by 5 because one ends in a 5 and one ends in a 0. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom both by 5. That leaves me on the top. 25 divided by 5 is equal to 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20. And I can simplify again because look, 5 and 20 are both divisible by what? By 5. Hopefully you said that. Alright, so I'm going to do it again. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. And there we go. That's it. My final answer, written as a fraction, is 1 and 1/4. And I'm sure a few of you saw up here, if you think of quarters, I could have simplified this a lot faster by dividing the top and bottom by 25. But I decided to go the long way because sometimes we don't notice those things, and we can always use the rules of divisibility. So that's it. Hopefully this video helped. If you have any questions, let me know.